Welcome back to the Let's Talk Social Innovation Pod, everybody. I hope you've been having a great start to your week, but if not, we can kickstart it right here. I'm your host, Ian Kahinde, and this week I have a very exciting guest to share with y'all, Dayquon Henderson.
What's
Tell him what's
going
up,
on,
bro.
everyone? Thank you
So
so much for having me on this week. It's a pleasure.
it's a pleasure to talk to
Yes,
you, bro. I've
sir.
loved
Yes,
getting to
sir.
know you earlier, and I can't wait to show this to everybody. You know what I'm saying?
It's an honor to be here just to share my story and share how I want to help other people, you know.
So
Yeah.
in this episode, we're going to be getting into Dayquan's backstory. Obviously, we're also going to get into his own podcast,
Yes, sir.
Dayquan's World. And in the end, we're going to end up talking about how to overcome fear and self-doubt and how you can use that to further your life. But first and foremost, introductions. Tell me, what year are you? What are you studying?
So I'm currently a senior. I will be graduating this fall, and I'm a professional media study major.
I can see you got the voice for it, bro.
It's one of my passions, man. Speaking. I would love to do like motivational speaking. That's the goal.
Word. Well, without any further ado, let's get into your upbringing and backstory. Tell
Yes,
us
sir.
what got you to where you're at. Take me to the beginning.
Take you to the beginning. Oh man, so I'm originally from Durham, North Carolina. I grew up with four siblings, two sisters and one brother, and my mom. So it was just us five. Well, we moved from Virginia. Well, we moved from North Carolina to Virginia, so it was just us five. You know, my mom. My mom took care of us. She did the best she could to get us to through middle school, high school, then college. She's working two jobs all the time, always working to make sure we had everything we needed. So I struggled a lot growing up with my education, just getting things faster, understanding, just the lack of speech, catching up with everything, So that I was told a lot that, I'm not on the same reading level as everyone, or I can't think, fast enough, all those different things. But by it, my mom showed up for me, with the grace of God, and we always had that support. So growing up, I couldn't have asked for anything better than what I got. We definitely saw times where, you know, we didn't have heat in the house, all those different things, but our mom made sure that, we didn't, go without.
Now, I got a question for
Yeah.
you. Where do you rank, like in terms of age, with the rest of your siblings?
I'm second. I have an older brother. It's me, and then my two younger sisters.
So, what was it like helping out, taking care of your younger sisters?
Oh, they honestly, they probably would tell you they took care of me more than I've taken care of them. Not gonna lie. Yeah. We always stuck out for each other. We worked at a young age. My sister worked at McDonald's, so like she always gave me money, and then when I always went out there and shoveled snow and things like that. So we all like just helped each other out, helping pay the bills. When our mom was short on cash and things like that. So we all just like really took initiative and stuck our neck out for each other.
What was it like with your mom being out of the house all the time because of working?
It was honestly, as I got older, I was always out the house as well because I dived into entrepreneurship, doing things like that. So I always, we understood what it was, and working and trying to take care of everything. And we understood that, doing it by yourself, raising four kids, it's like hard. So we
Raising four
understood.
kids with a partner,
Yeah,
that's hard.
yeah, right. But by yourself is it's a lot challenging. So we understood that the only way to get through it was just to push and focus on education and getting to a point like that. So I was always doing something outside the house, trying to you know, figure out what I want to do, you know.
Mm. So what was it like juggling school and entrepreneurship?
Oh, sometimes it was hard. Cuz I most of the time I was stuck on the creative part of, what I was doing. Um I so to get a start on the entrepreneur stuff, how I got into it, um ninth grade in STEM. Me and two friends, Michael and Hamilton, shout out to them.
Shout
Uh
out.
we had this STEM program, we were all in STEM, and like we created an app to help kids with disabilities. And it's to date, it's probably one of the best things I've ever done. It took us about 6 months to get this project
That's some
running up,
work.
and we tested it in our school board. So the app is called Word Education. It was an app to help kids with disabilities help them build their word association. So like matching, words to pictures.
Mm.
And we did extensive research on, what's out there. I struggled a lot with reading and writing, things like that, and that wasn't around when I was struggling. So I we went to our teachers and was like, hey, is there anything that is going on right now that you know kids could use to benefit their learning? And they should say, yeah, reading is a challenge. So we wanted to dedicate this to making tests and quizzes and just being at home a little bit easier, beyond education.
Mm.
And in today, there's so many things out there that kids struggle with, and that's why, like, education is like the most important thing. But sometimes if you don't have um the help or know where to go or that avenue, is kind of hard. So I hope to just leave a little bit of light for people to grasp to.
Even then, it's actually been a topic of discussion with a couple guests who have come on this pod
Right.
about, I guess, the priority of survival, because education and spreading your wings, flourishing your creative
Right.
gifts, obviously comes after sustaining yourself. And if you don't have a good situation at home, it's really, really hard
Oh
to
yeah, no,
be
for
able
sure.
to, do well in school or do what you really want to do with your creative abilities and talents.
Oh yeah, and having our mom stay on us, and being at church. Church has always been a big part of that. They preach education, the importance of books, and why we need to be in school. So having that backbone helped me out. Grew up in a Baptist church,
Mm.
and like every week, my pastor would give me books. Some of
W
yes,
pastor.
W, yes, sir. And having that backbone of the importance of education definitely helped me with that avenue of figuring out. And mind you, then I was like 14, I think, 14.
Mm.
So I felt like, oh man, I'm really doing something like good at this age, and because I had everybody in my corner, it helped me get to that avenue of let me reach, let me reach out and help somebody else.
So past high school, what got you to where you're at now?
So it's been a long journey, I can say. I graduated high school in 2017. Um, right after high school, I went to Morehouse College. One of the best HBCUs in the country, in the world. Martin Luther King went there, all these
Mm-hmm.
greats. And I had the best time there. The idea was to just get my degree there. But if I had to be honest, I don't think like just getting out of high school and having issues with just finding money and finding all these different things, and um, people just being in my ear about the wrong things. I think I let a lot of that get to me.
Wrong
Um,
things like what?
I being not college material and um just fighting with people about the decisions that I was making, Um and I think I let all that get to me. And I didn't have when I got there, I didn't have no issues, with going to class and things like that. It's just
But you got in the wrong crowd.
no, not even that. I just didn't reach out to people, reach out to professors, ask for help. Like I wasn't
Taking advantage of your resources.
yes, I wasn't doing that at all. I mean, I was in student government, I was on like boards and stuff. So like I was present, but I wasn't present enough.
Mm.
And um and when I got there, I reached out to a lot of the seniors, and I started out as a business major, and I would talk to seniors like every single day, and what's going on. I would look up to them and get it out there. Um, and one senior told me to, if you're not happy with what you're doing, switch your major. And then I was like, all right, cool. But I wasn't thinking at the time. So I didn't. I just stayed in the classes. I didn't reach out to a guidance counselor. I wasn't reaching out to anybody. So I was like, dang, second semester rolled around, you know, I did okay. I was all right. I was trying to go back, get my mind refreshed and just get into it. But it never happened.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time um April came around, um I had that conversation. They said, well, you're gonna be academic, I will be separated from the college for a year, because of academics, um, leaving me at like a 1.5. So I was like, all right. Um, so it was very sad because by the time I wanted to get it together, it was like kind
It
of,
was too late.
yeah. So I was in that situation. Um, then I had to like rethink, what am I, what will I do now? So when I got back to Virginia, I just went straight into community college, which is something that I wasn't trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's only the highest tier that I was offered. Yeah, go to community college for 2 years, and then, um, that's all I ever was offered. But I was very upset then, because we were just going through so much. So much was just happening around that time.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of me getting back in the situation that I didn't want to go into in the first place was even more of a, burden on me. So I was just walking around very just angry and like, frustrated.
Did you look at community college as a failure?
A setback,
Mm.
more of a setback. Um, More of a setback because the path that I thought I was going to be on, it didn't match up to reality, what I was getting. Um, and at first, I didn't realize the help until started to, I reached out to a guidance counselor to talk about the things that happened in the past. And a lot of them said, a lot of the guidance counselors said, wow, I went through the same thing. I transferred. I started out as a community college and then went to a 4 year school. So a lot of people had similar stories, which eventually I started to just get out of my head and listen to people.
Mm-hmm.
That is the first turning point of that's a small step in how I got here. Started listening to people. I started to understand what people were telling me because my idea was to just get through it for a year, get back to my house and, go there, and just go back to what I was doing, So
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to rush, I was trying to just get in and get out. But as time went on, um, people, guidance counselors was like, well, just stay here. If you get your degree here, you know, you'll be fine.
You can
You'll
still use
have
it.
another, yeah. And I wasn't listening for a while. I wasn't. I was like, man, I'm just trying to get here and just get out and go back to the path that I then needed to be on.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I was, and also I was battling with you know the questions of, well, what happened? Everyone's asking, well, what happened? There's what and I'm like, man, I don't want to have those conversations. It's
Yeah.
just let me try and figure it out. And that's the thing. You try and figure out everything on your own. Sometimes it could be like, too heavy. So I was just trying to figure out everything on my own, but I had to, just listen. And my mom always has, moms always have a way with words,
Exactly.
and she would, till this day, when we talk, she said that the path you um, thought you wanted. It's one that God needed you to see what He's doing in your life, and that um, at 19 and 20, 18, 19, and you're really not. You're thinking about that because that's how I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
But you're really, it's going one ear out the other because you want
You
what,
want like success now.
yeah, and everybody else was doing that, and everybody else was in their prospective colleges and
Mm-hmm.
doing great things, internships and things like that. And me, I'm like, man, I'm stuck here trying to have this path that I didn't even choose,
Mm-hmm.
or I didn't want. And as time went on, we ended up moving from Alexandria to Woodbridge, so a new school, a new environment, so where that time was even worse,
Mm-hmm.
because I just didn't want those things to happen, um, but so I got into a new school and a new campus, still community college. Then it was, grades were good. Um, Everything was good at that time, but in my mind, I'm still at this point struggling with the idea of I'm here, I don't want to be here, things like that.
But making the best of it.
Yeah, making the best of it, but still in that mindset, you know. Um, and I think what really turned things around for me is how nice everyone was. You know how like you're in the situation where there's nothing really wrong, but you kind of create this idea of
Mm-hmm.
um, the unnecessary like tension just because you are feeling stuck and about your situation.
I mean, our mental is how we
Yeah,
really
right.
perceive things, you know?
Right. So that I think after a while, and by then this is like the a third semester
Mm-hmm.
of community college. Um, I just ended up giving in and sticking out with it and asking for help, going to professors for time, talking to guidance counselors. Um, I had a job at the car wash working there.
Okay.
So
Little
yeah,
bit of floss
yeah.
action.
So all these different, I was doing all these different things. It was a new journey for me, and I finally had switched my major to communications, which made a lot of things better for me. So
It's
I,
something you actually wanted.
yes, so I started to really listen and understand what people were telling me, and I started to move different. The job, school, I started to balance things. Everything, everything was good. I had to stop and like, yo, I have a job, I have money, I have my grades are good.
Looking at the
Yeah.
good.
So I really had to just stop and say, hey, like, I'm okay. Like, everything's good, And by then, I'm like, all right. So I'm working with everything that I have, with everything, um, with my sisters and my mom. So, and we just, at this point, I'm like, all right, let me just keep my head down, focus on getting better as an adult, you know. So like by the time I turned 20, you know, I started to, just focus on school more so I wouldn't feel like I I'm stuck here, you know.
Hmm.
Sometimes, sometimes we feel like that, and I did for a while. Um, but during that time, I really appreciated the journey of what community college gave me. Gave me a sense of direction, a sense of understanding, listening to my mom and everyone around me, and just staying put. You know, because a few months ago, my mom said to me that you needed to just stay put, so God can um, see if you're going to listen to Him or not. You know,
Hmm.
and I started to listen, so I could be able to have opportunities to come to Pitt and graduate and do all these other things. And how Pitt came about is
I was
like
just about to ask that.
it was such a random decision. Like I didn't know anything about Pitt. I mean, I knew about Pittsburgh, of course.
Hmm.
I didn't know that school
Had you
existed.
ever set foot in PA?
No, no, not even. And so how it happened was, um, I knew like my time was coming up, and I was going to like look at all these other schools. I even had a almost close to a full ride to like Fermi University.
Mm.
Um, and I was like looking through this magazine, and the first like pages was schools in Pennsylvania, and like all these other schools popped up. Then I went home, did a Google search, Pitt came up, and I was like, so I clicked on it, and I saw like just all these opportunities. Like I don't know, my face like lit up. I was like, wow, this could be something good for me,
Yeah.
And I just saw all these like you know opportunities to be a leader, um, all these clubs, sports.
Internships.
Yes, so I saw all these different things that I knew that would just get me to a different path. And so like I was still talking to the other school and things like that. But the next day I called Pitt, and I was like, hey, I'm looking for a school to transfer to. um this is what I have, this is what I can offer, things like that. And the nicest lady on the phone,
We love our nice financial aid
the
ladies.
nicest person on the phone. And I got off the phone and I was like, I am going to Pitt. And I applied, I got in. And it's like once you get it, it's like I was hesitant too though, because I
Mhm.
was like, man, I don't know how we're
It's a
gonna.
big
Yeah,
difference. Yeah.
I was like, man, I don't know like how I'm gonna afford this, all these different questions. Um, how am I even gonna get there? Can we even manage this? And all these thoughts. And my mom was like, just do it, just go, figure it out from there. And I did. And when I got here, I was like, yo, this is home. I visited, um, and I was like, yo, this is it. I don't know what this is gonna be like, but this is it. I just
Kathy
knew.
got you?
It did. The whole city. I was like, man, this is so cool, to be in a new space. Um, and out of the 5 years, um, this is the first time for me I felt like I had some control in my own thoughts, my own like instead of having everybody tell you you should do this, I felt
You were making your own
yes,
decisions.
for the first time out of my whole entire college career, I didn't feel crammed, or I didn't feel like I had to always answer to people about my decisions. It felt light here, you know. I knew, and it hasn't, it's definitely been a struggle for me here, just getting, especially education. I'm still struggling, but it's the struggle that I need.
Mm.
It has given me a sense of direction. Um, and leading up to now, diving into all my communication classes, the people I've met, um,
Connections are real.
yes, and I've met so many different people here. And walking onto this campus the first day, I was very hesitant about things. I was like, man, I don't know if I'm going to find the right people or um like when you're a new person anywhere, you're always trying to merge into somebody else's lane
Hmm.
because people um
They already have
yeah,
cliques. They
yeah.
already have a routine.
So you got to figure out how to merge yourself into that.
Hmm.
And I ended up, like a lot of my friends now are I'm like older than them. So when I transferred, I was like,
A little
yeah,
non-traditional.
yeah. And I met some friends who were freshmen then, they're all juniors now. Um, and no one, we all became great friends.
No one judged.
No one judged, we all just in my mind, sometimes it's like, man, I'm like 6 years older than them. Are they gonna want to hang out with me?
Oh,
Um,
people are pretty friendly
yeah,
here. That's
it
something
is.
I like.
And I I got a sense of like direction without having any, I don't know, none of the backlash or just it's all like chill conversations.
Mm.
And I feel like where I started is I'm getting the ending that I want, which I had before even going into the semester. I felt like I wasn't going to get that. I know, not reaching for a perfect ending, but just one that is a less complicated ending. If that makes sense.
I hear. I hear. Now, a question I got for you.
Yes, sir.
You got Morehouse, a historically
Yes.
black university, and now you're here at Pitt. And I'm not going to say anything, but it is a PWI. What is it like comparing and contrasting the differences between said campuses?
Oh, it's a very big difference. First, the conversations are way different. I'm not having. We do talk about DEI on campus, of course, but and this started just like my whole entire college career. After I left Morehouse, I don't think I get enough of the black conversations um, that I need to continue to like build and understand. That is a big difference. Just the conversations
Mm.
at hand. It's But the way I look at it is, you know, I and I still talk to a lot of people from Morehouse today, so I still get that connection. I visit every once in a while, but how I channel it here is showing up for other black people. I'm showing up to events. Um, you know, just continuing those conversations, like the spaces that we're in now. Try to get myself into a space where we're having these conversations about what it means to be a black man, what it means, you know, and we how we can't get thrown off our game.
Mm.
So I've always just tried to remain the same and become friends with everyone, but not also limit myself. Um, but I still remember the lessons that I was taught, so I try to carry that with me. But I don't know. I'm definitely not the most well put together person, of course, but I really just tried to, you know, all the lessons that have gotten and still continue to get. I've just tried to mellow it out and try and still remain that same person.
Now, second to last question
Hmm.
before our artist spotlight. DayWay / Dayquan's world.
DayWay.
Where did it begin? How did it start? And where are we at now?
Oh, Daquan's world started at Morehouse College.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was freshman year. It didn't even start until October 31st. So
Ooh, okay. Anniversary coming up soon.
anniversary is coming up for Daquan's world. About 6 years now, 6 7 years now.
That's an old baby.
Yeah. Daquan's world started out as me doing like videos about um everything that I had learned in high school. It was supposed to be for kids who are going to be seniors and applying to colleges and getting to college. And Then a few weeks later, we went back and said, why don't we do a daily show? So every day I would give a quote of the day. It would be like Motivation Monday, Jam Friday, some theme to it.
Hmm.
And we would just film around campus every single day. And then I did a few documentaries, one about bullying. I talked about my experience. And then I interviewed people on campus on how they got bullied and how they persevered. So I talked about a lot of personal um, things. And then we just, you know, took it from there. And then as I um, left Morehouse. I tried to continue it for like another year, another 2 years, and then I stopped for a while.
I
Um,
mean, life happens.
yeah, things got in the way, so I stopped. But when I got back, when I got here, I discovered the WPTS radio, and they allowed me to come in and do something different. Introduced me to the radio show, what it means to have a radio station. So as I started Dayquan's World, it was an 8 a.m. radio station, and I had a lot of good friends on. I wanted it to just be us having conversations like we're doing now,
Exactly.
and channel that energy into something positive.
Everything around's
Yeah.
way too negative nowadays, you know?
So I think aside from just having the having everything go on, having a podcast is like, you know, also, we want people to listen, but it's really therapeutic
Hmm.
just to sit down and talk and, with your friends or whoever you have on. It really just gives you a clearer mind of getting to know that person and understanding their story and even getting some similarities from there. Then when I did the podcast, that was awesome. I'm still trying to, figure out where to even go with that. But the DayWay podcast, I have 2 episodes out on, Spotify. My first episode was with my good friend Blaine. Um, he's in he was an RA. We talked about fitness and like health. So like I try to get personal and really dive into topics that are important to people.
Hmm.
And then the second episode that I have is with my best friend Brendan Gola. We talked about what it means to be your authentic self. So I choose topics based on the personality and how I know someone, and they just bring me so much joy. Being your authentic self. Like, what does that mean? And there's no one I being around Brendan, he shows his authentic self like every single day, like every time we hang out, So that kid, he has helped me since the beginning. And, you know, channeling that, positive energy, it makes when you listen to it, you get a sense of, friendship, you get a sense of connection. And that's what, I want Daquan's word to be, um, having my best friends on and we talk about real life things and how we can grow from our mistakes, um, just learning from each other, no matter our background, that's when I hang out with people here, that really doesn't matter.
Hmm.
And I'm glad it doesn't because we, all bring something different to the table, And yeah, 9 times out of 10, it's when you're sometimes the only minority around, it's we don't I personally don't look at it that way because I'm around good people
Hmm. But
and
you
I'm
know, some
around
people can be on the
yeah,
edge.
right. But when you're around other people who understand you, and really just want to listen and show up for you, I think it, mm, I think it, makes sense or it makes up for what the world and what society has on black versus right and all these different things. But with all of that, you don't, and this is for everybody. You don't forget who you are or try and be somebody else. And that's what the podcast comes back to. having authentic conversations, you know, honest and upfront, and having people walk away with a great message.
That's beautiful. And I'm very excited to, I'll make sure to link it in the description so that everybody
Yeah.
watching and listening to this can learn something from your show. Now, the last question that I have for you
Yes, sir.
before we get into our artist spotlight, from the whole story of your life, an incredible story, an incredible journey, what do you want to get across to people that they can learn from it? How about we give 3 lessons that you've learned?
Taking responsibility for your actions, and what happens with your life, listening to people around you, and understanding that you don't have to rush everything to get to where other people are.
I feel like comparison can be the thief of joy, though.
Yes. Well, yes. Comparing yourself to other people. That's definitely one of the biggest lessons I've learned.
I feel like we're gonna get into that a little bit in the second half
Yeah,
of
man.
this. So we're not gonna spoil anything. In fact, instead of continuing to go on right now, we're going to have our artist spotlight for this week. We're gonna be listening to "Garden of Eden" by
Yes,
Funky
sir.
Lamp. I hope y'all enjoy.
There's a preacher on the corner. The people stop and stare. It's like he's talking underwater, 'cause no one seems to hear. But did I mention I've been looking for a revelation here lately? He's holding up a Bible and quoting some old verse. Yeah, he's calling out the sinners, says they'll end up in a hearse. But did I mention I've been looking for a little trouble here lately? They say the good die young, so I don't wanna be sane. Oh baby, pull me closer, we ain't got no time to waste. If you're forbidden fruit, then I want more than just a taste. If you're my ticket down below, I don't wanna wait. Preacher told me I'm a goddess, so I might as well go free. Said, do you wanna pray with me? I'm not.
Hope y'all enjoyed listening to "Garden of Eden" by Funky Lamp. You'll be able to find their Instagram and their Spotify in the description of this episode, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on any of our audio platforms. Now, we're going to be getting into the second half of today's discussion, which is overcoming self-doubt and fear. Now, we've already heard through your story
Right.
about how you've been to 4 different colleges,
Yeah, 3.
3 different colleges, and you've had to start over many times in your life, whether it's, making new friends, getting acclimated to a new culture. And obviously through that, there's a lot of space for doubt and fear to creep in and cripple your growth. But you stood tall through it all. Can you tell us how to do it?
Yeah, it's being patient with time and people has definitely been the um one of the biggest things, especially when I got here. I'm, if you ask anybody, I'm like the most outgoing person, around. Um, and when you fall into something new, you want to be there all the time. You want to just because it's new, and it's like you get those friendships or new school you don't want to lose it. Um, and I think it's sometimes I definitely probably tried too hard on diving in because once you got it, you don't want to lose it. And that's been one of my mindsets this whole entire time at Pitt. Um I didn't want to lose again. I didn't want to lose another school, or I didn't want to lose being a part of other people's lives,
Mm.
Um, and when you embed that mindset, you work hard for it. So not wanting to lose my friends who I've made here, not wanting to um, have anything taken away from me was definitely one of the biggest
Motivators.
motivators. Yeah, couldn't imagine not seeing the people um, around campus. Couldn't imagine not being an RA anymore. Couldn't imagine not. It's the simple things. Driving up into the city, anymore. If I would have just flunked out or you know given up on myself again, I would have lost. You lose all that. So just in and it only takes a few times to think about that,
Mm-hmm.
and then you move on. So that's definitely been one of the motivators I've had, just not wanting to lose everything that I've worked for and all the help that I've had to get here.
I will say the way that you worded it, it sounds like it's the fear of losing it, which is what motivates you. But I think that a better way to phrase
Right.
it /
Yeah.
look at it
Yeah.
is having a spirit of gratitude
Yes.
for the things you have around you and wanting to protect them rather than being afraid of losing them.
Right.
You're being
For sure.
appreciative of what you have in the
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much for that.
Yes.
Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah. So having the gratitude of everything that I have, the friendships, the leadership, and I'm also in the fraternity, Phi Gamma Delta, and um, the values that I carry for that fraternity, friendship, knowledge, service, morality, um, those, and being a part of a brotherhood, definitely has helped me, you know, navigate things at Pitt, and I think
I do not know what that sound is, but I hope that our listeners can't hear it.
yeah.
Sorry for the interruption, y'all. Something was going on in the studio. I hope that y'all cannot hear it on the mics, but if so, sorry for the inconvenience. We're trying to figure out
Yeah.
what exactly it was. But Dayquon, to get back to what you were saying.
Yeah. So I really had to channel I looked at. Another thing that has helped me is looking at how hard other people work, and try and take some of that hard work and instill it into myself. Try to be more disciplined. I had to build a structure for myself, and I had to learn the difference between when going out is good and when going out isn't, and saying no, which is like, you ask anybody around, it's probably harder for me to say no to anything.
Very hard.
But I also had to like look at other people and just channel hard work. A lot of people have helped me out with this. Every res life has been a big part of my journey. I've been in RA for the last 2 years, so having a structure of being a leader also puts you in a position of, you can't do these things because you are a leader and you signed up for this. So the challenge of signing up to be a leader shaped how I stood tall, because I had to. Now I'm in charge of taking care of other people, or watching over other people.
You had to be there for them.
Yes. So getting myself together first was one of the first things that I had to do before stepping into a leadership role. It's like I, say, you can't really give anybody something from an empty cup, So I really had to take time to just understand who I am first, and then go for it. Being an RA is one of the best things that I've done here. And um, when challenges come up and when residents have something, we figure it out. And it also helps me learn about new things that I've never dealt with. Um, so just having that support helped me out.
So, when it came to fighting self doubt, what did you do to overcome that?
Prayed. And I haven't always been the best at it, but I try to do it every day, or just try and look at other scriptures that either on social media, or just try and talking to my mom, and um just understanding and keeping that in my life has definitely helped me out. And always looking back at the what I've went through before um has just reminded me of how far I've come, um and the gratitude that I can have for this place.
Because God is a steady rock who will never forsake you.
Right,
So
always.
it's going to be the most consistent thing in your life,
Oh, yeah.
because everything else will change except God's love for you.
Oh, 100%. And um the consistency of people have definitely helped me out. um I go back to my best friend Gola. This kid has, along with other people, we have very genuine conversations about work, about school, about you know leadership, all these different things. And just listening to that has helped me, become a better person, a better listener, a better, how can I be a better friend, showing up for other people. I recently, found out that I have a heart condition. So, when people showed up for me, to the hospital and checked on me, and made sure that I was okay, that I'm most grateful for all the help I've gotten, through that time. So the challenges within a challenge has come up, because health is important. And me, I'm always going and doing things and stressing, so I had to like slow down a bit. So even with dealing with school and trying to graduate, I'm also dealing with health issues. So just having people around me, tell me, hey, you can't do this, you shouldn't do this, these things, has helped me, because could have went way worse than what it did. But just being still and listening is really one of the best things that has made this journey what it is.
What's the biggest thing that you've learned in order to help you in your process of starting over?
That
I know it's a
that
loaded, it's a loaded question.
It is. To always, um I know this is probably the most vague answer, but um consistency with yourself um is probably the number one thing I would say. It doesn't mean you're a perfect person, of course, but it means that um when you're around people, you know how to carry yourself, you know how to not only ask for help but give help. When I think doing the little things um matter. um Showing up for other people, showing up, being on time to class, all these different things that we still struggle with, as students. um Standing tall on your word. When you say you're going to do something, do it. When you tell somebody that you're going to be at this place, be there. And as I'm saying this, of course, it hasn't always been 100%, but I think when you dedicate your time to other people in the midst of what you got going on, um, and listening, because you never know what somebody else is going through, So you get to hear. I've gotten to hear other people's stories, and know that I'm not the only one going through things too.
Everyone's got their own struggles.
Yes. So with everything that I've come up to do, I've been able to gain perspective from a lot of other people here in Pittsburgh at Pitt.
So when you were saying that you have to consistently be yourself, I found that really interesting because moving from one place to another, the only constant variable is you.
Right.
So what you said there makes a lot of sense. Now, my last question is, if you could wrap up everything that we've talked about so far into a bow, what would the overarching message be?
The overall arching message is that you half of my answer is going to come from a quote. Chadwick Boseman said that in his commencement speech at Howard, he said that you don't want to take the easy way. You want to take the most complicated route. No matter how long it takes, the steps, you want to take it. And 3-4 years into college, and now I'm starting to understand that everything doesn't have to be when you want it or rush. And I like that because it pertains to me and what I've experienced in the last 6 years. And it has made me a better person. And surrounding myself with people who, want to fight the good fight, and sharpen iron. Iron sharpens iron. So I would say that to anybody out there who feels like their process isn't going the way they wanted to, it's okay to talk to your friends. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to take a step back and say, no, I have to work on myself. I have to figure out I have to figure out myself. I have to challenge myself. I have to just go be by myself, and that is okay. It's okay to acknowledge your challenges and struggles instead of pushing them away, which I did for a long time. And as soon as you start acknowledging what the problem is, you can understand how to go about fixing it. You can understand how to ask for help. You can't ask for help if you don't realize that you do need help. And that is one of the biggest things that I've learned throughout this journey. And I will be walking across the stage this fall because of God, because of my friends here, because of my mom, my brothers, my sister, because people understood me, people listened to me, and I felt heard throughout this whole entire journey. And I'm not walking just by myself. I'm walking with everybody who has helped me out. And remember that when people help you out, it always is good to return the favor, because you never know what anybody else is going through. And that is the message of this podcast.
I'll definitely be looking out for you in the future. Now, last thing to get into, what is the future of Dayquon Henderson?
That, man, I've been looking at so many different jobs. Everyone's been, I don't know, man. It's so hard. It's really hard. I think some type of teaching is what I want to dive into. I know I want to dive into, marketing and advertising, but recently the conversations of teaching and going into education has been coming up a lot. So I don't know. Maybe I'll go that direction.
Hey, I mean, if you're talking about teaching, I learned a lot just through this hour that I've spent with you. I'm sure that everybody who's watching and listening is also came away with something. So very much appreciate your
Of
time
course.
coming out here.
Yeah, thank you. Of course.
And like I said, I'll definitely be looking out for you in the future.
Likewise, brother.
Now, one last thing.
Yes, sir.
I do have a little surprise for you from the School of Social Work.
Oh,
yeah.
let's go.
Toya Jones, she has her own podcast called Healing Overflow with Dr. Toy. So she packed a couple goodies from the School of Social Work to give to everybody.
Well,
who
thank you
comes
so
on.
much. Yeah, Toya Jones, I heard her speak, and she's phenomenal.
A phenomenal speaker.
Yes, she is.
Which is why I'm just saying, anybody watching and listening to this, her podcast will be linked in the description as well. I would highly recommend that you tap in.
Yes.
You will learn a lot from an absolutely brilliant, exceptional mind. Now, before we log off, are there any last thoughts you have to give to the audience?
I would just like to say thank you. Just being very thankful for everyone listening. Guys can always reach out and we can continue having these conversations about self-doubt, about showing up, about anything, so I want to make it known that I'm always going to be an ear for someone because people were an ear for me.
That's beautiful, man.
Yes, sir.
Now, this has been an excellent episode of the Let's Talk Social Innovation podcast. Now, you'll be able to find the link to the DayWay pod,
Yes, sir.
Dayquon's word, in the description. Highly recommend that you check that out. Show all the love that you show here. Definitely show it to Dayquon. But this is your host, Ian Kahende, and we are signing off. Peace out, everybody.